Ever dream of being a rock star in your business or career? Well, today we get to talk to a music rock star. Welcome to Business Without Barriers, the show helping you turn barriers into success breakthroughs and thrive in a volatile world, and the Success Revolution, bringing humanity back to business. So join the revolution at bwbtv.net. I'm your host, Carmen Wild, and my guest today is legendary rock star Ard Matthews and 2019 SAMA winner. As the frontman of South African band Just Jinjer, his indelible lyrics and melody arrangements led the way to the incredible success of their debut album, All Comes Round, becoming one of the biggest selling rock genre albums of all time in their native country of South Africa, and achieving double platinum status in its first year with a follow-up album, Something for Now, reaching the same status a year later. The band has performed and toured with U2, Counting Crows, and Def Leppard, among many others, performing both locally and internationally, and released 6 acclaimed albums. They settled in Los Angeles for 8 years, where they signed an international recording deal with Curb Records and played at some of the most well-known and influential clubs and festivals, returning to South Africa in 2009. Ard released his debut solo album, First Offerings, in 2012 to wide acclaim. He plays regularly as a solo act and is still fronting the original Just Jinjer. He's also the new proud owner of the sailing vessel, the Impossible Machine. This man is a legend. He knows how to crush through challenges and turn barriers into extraordinary success breakthroughs. A rock star, pirate of the Atlantic, and king of his own castle, and coming to you from his dungeon in his castle. A huge welcome to you, Ard. But it's so awesome to have you on the show today.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me. Good to see you again.
Yeah, good to see you too. And you're looking well, and can't wait to hear what you got to tell us today.
Cool.
So recently, you've made one of your big dreams a reality. Just a year ago, you were in Mauritius, and we were on a small speedboat, and you were telling us about this sailing vessel you wanted, and here we are a year later, and it's in the water. Tell us about it. How is this going to change?
Was I already telling you guys about it then already? Was I showing you pictures of it and things like that?
No. It was nowhere close to that. You were just...
was it just talking about wanting to do that?
Yes.
Yeah, all right. So, wow, yeah. Things have come a long way since then. Geez, where do I even start? Just over a year ago, you remember Eileen, my dear partner, and we were just, I guess, slightly bored one day, and dreaming as always. You just dream, and we were like, well, let's go. Why don't we go and see what boats are for sale? And so we met with a broker who was recommended to us by my friend Chris Burtish, who, as you know, is that nutter who supped across the Atlantic Ocean on a stand-up paddleboard. Nutter and dear friend of mine, so don't worry, we're all nutters. And and he introduced me to this really cool broker, and he showed us some cats that, to look at, and showed us the kind of price range. We were like, like it's nice, but it's basically a floating cheap hotel, essentially, is how we felt. So don't get me wrong, cat owners, I like a multi-hull, and I'm probably going to end up cruising on one anyway at some stage after after this whole experience. But we were there wasn't really good pickings in Cape Town at the time. So we kind of went back to his office, and he said, you could get a grand old girl like that for like a fraction of the price. And he pointed to what was then the Howard Davis, this old 1966 wooden built, ketch built by the SA Navy. And I was like, what? Show me that immediately. And so we managed to walk on board and go and look. And, what can I say? The rest was like love at first sight. And after a massive, I was just like, what? She's a donkey. She's not going to sail well, even though she was designed to be a sailing, like a teaching vessel, which is what it was. I was like, what? I don't care how I get there. I want to get there in this kind of style. I don't care if other boats get there a few hours before me, or whatever. I'm also not going with other boats. We're going our own way and our own speed. So I impulsively put an offer in on her. I don't even know where I had the balls to do that in the first place, but I did it, just seeing what would unfold, and it was just incredible. And so I managed to actually, we finalized the deal in January of this year. And then I had to take up to Saldana to get a lot of work done, which I knew had to happen. And then I think we all know what happened in around about March of this year. We had quite a large event take place for the first time in our living memory, on a global scale. So, I mean, it's a really bad idea to buy a boat when it's not a pandemic, and it's even more challenging
Exactly.
to
Yeah.
get through it during a pandemic. Yeah, it really is. But it's good. It's been a hell of a challenge, obviously, but it's been cool. It's been very distracting. It's kept me focused. And the good news is, she's all the work has been done on her, and she's back at the VNA. And I have renamed her the Impossible Machine, or TIM for short. And obviously always respecting the honor of Howard Davis as well. There's a plaque up on board for her because it was actually a World War I general who lost his son in battle, and his son's name was Howard Davis. So I'll let that legacy and more continue with that and honor that. And everyone says it's bad luck to change a boat's name, but I think being superstitious is bad luck.
Exactly.
So I don't really. I think it's bad luck to be superstitious. So I don't really care. I'm not one of those guys. Who knows how crazy I'll get.
Yeah, no, stuff the superstition. You make your own journey, and so timid is. And so I'm sure, let's ask the question everybody has on their minds. What happens to the music career? So how do you bring these two journeys together?
So that's an interesting question, because a lot of people have asked me, first of all, what am I sure I know what I'm doing, and not to get lost. Well, to answer that first question is not entirely. I mean, like, the whole thing is a wing and a prayer. I just have I have a pretty good idea of, I bought this studio. It's a castle in Hout Bay, and I converted this dungeon into a studio, which I can't really show you on my laptop. Unfortunately, you'd have to go onto Instagram or something like it to check it out. But I had the faith in that I was able to project manage this whole thing, which is a drop in the ocean compared to when you have to do something like that on a boat. But it gave me the confidence enough to take on that kind of challenge. Yeah, I don't know. It is a bit crazy, but it's not going to affect the music. That's the answer. I'm actually planning on putting a studio on board. And with the technology that we have available, it's not a full installation. We can't have a lot of outboard gear because everything's going to, I also don't want to have too much electronic stuff on there, because then we're going to get, we're going to have a massive deviation on the compass with all those electronics floating around. Yeah. So I'm going to keep it small and compact, but I'm going to record on board, and the music will continue, and it has continued. I've got new songs out already. But this has been a massive challenge just to get it in the water. And then, of course, the idea is to sail away and collaborate with anyone and everyone who can play, who can make any form of sound that is reasonably pleasing to the ear.
I mean, if you look at the picture and the opportunities and the collaborative opportunities you'll have, the people you'll meet, you can create a new music sensation all on its own. Sailing into the sunset, singing. I mean, come on, stopping at islands.
That's it. That's the idea. For me, like a really big part of me was that I don't want to be doing something that feels like retirement later on.
Yes.
I want to do it now. I mean, I can't afford it now. That's the truth. But you know what? I can. Anything I put my mind to, I will do, and I have actually done it.
Exactly.
I can afford it, so I know how you guys are about putting the word out there. So I'm going to change the narrative right now for you. I have afforded it, and I can afford it. In fact, this is only one of many. This is the first of my fleet. How's that? Are you liking that?
I'm loving it. I'm loving it. You,
I know that's
boy.
So yeah, it's all happening, and the idea is to just go and start my life now. I don't want to wait. I'm 45 now. I don't want to wait till I'm 60 to be starting to do this, and I probably got a little bit more money in my back pocket, and then but I don't. But my back pocket is a replaced hip. Do you know what I mean? Like, what is the point of all that? I'd rather go now while I'm fat and healthy and relatively strong and supple and flexible-ish, I'd rather go now and fight it out and be a pirate and just, especially in this day and age and what we've overcome and what we are still to overcome. It's like when do you start living is the big question.
Exactly, exactly.
And
For I'm so totally with you for having the courage and the taking that ownership of, okay, I'm going to make my own way. Who knows? Maybe you start a whole new genre of music. Who knows what you do?
Whatever. There's no exact intention to do anything like that. It's just whatever happens. It's just also really just going to go according to my own steam. I'm not going to be beholden to anyone. There was talk of getting sponsors on board, but I'm still open to that. But it would have to be someone who just wants to go ahead with whatever I'm going to do. Like being beholden to anyone at this stage after what I've gone through and done it all by myself is just not going to work. And I'm going to go at my own speed. And who knows, I could get as far as Niza and go, you know what, I don't like sailing. That's also the freedom that I have as well.
Yes, exactly.
It's not like once I say I'm leaving, that if I even get scared the night before, I'll just go, yeah, you know what, it's actually quite scary and I might change my mind. So that is the truth. I'm open to all of that. And people ask, when are you going? And I've realized that a new sailor, the only way you can answer it in a nautical term, the real answer is, I don't know. I just don't know. That is the answer. In my mind, I'm aiming for like 16 to 18 months, probably 2 years. And the only reason for that is that I just want to get her into such good condition. I want to know her very intimately. I need to know how I'm sailing. I've just interrupted my sailing course to do this podcast. We're busy actually. Yeah, of course. Thank you. Are you kidding? I was saying I'm busy doing the conversions, and I've got the RYA coastal skipper yacht master, and I'm now having to convert that to the SAS, and I obviously want to upgrade all those to offshore and ocean yacht master. So I'm going to go through all those processes, and I want to do that while I'm here, while she has her berth in Cape Town, and that's why that'll take time, because everything takes time. Also, to refit her and the way I want. Like, I've done the very hard work, which is a brand new engine, all brand new, like structural things that were very important that I needed to handle. I've done all that. And now the rest is just dressing up and getting up to speed. And I wanted to be, so, but the truth is, she's got such a advanced license. She's got a category A commercial license. If I wanted to, I can get on her tomorrow, and with experienced people, we can go anywhere we want. So that's quite exciting to know that at any stage we've got a little emergency hatch,
Sounds fantastic. Well, wishing you lots of love, lots of sailings into the sunset, and just it's magical. I think you're going to create a magical journey. I can't wait to see it unfold. So lots of beautiful magical wishes coming your way around that. Let's go back into where it all began. So I read that you were in a talent contest at the age of 12. Yeah. Was that sort of the kick-off to your music career, or was there different?
No, it was not. It could have been. But weirdly, what happened is I used to impersonate Nat King Cole, Louis Armstrong. I still did pretty well. But I used to impersonate them as a joke. It's all I did. Like, I've always had a little bit of a vocal skill to get into someone's character, and like, you'll even hear Rodriguez on a night. I get to challenge. I channel him pretty well. But so I did that for fun, like at the beach at Anstey's on the Bluff in Durban. I used to sing it to my mates, and they were completely like taken, because it was just something that no one was doing, first of all, and also I was doing it pretty good, and then there was this talent show that happened on the Bluff, and the first prize was a guitar and 3 guitar lessons for the winner. So I went and sang the song, and I won it, and I got the guitar, and I went to my first guitar lesson with this guy who was writing stuff down. It was all like, and by the end of it, he was like, you got to have this homework, and you got to do all this by the time you get back tomorrow. And he sucked all the joy out of it in that very moment. I was like, you know what? No, this is terrible. So I gave my guitar to my mom and said, just sell it and I'm out of here. Thank you. I don't want anything to do with it. So that was 12. I could have been practicing from the age of 12 with, under any other circumstance. I'm not blaming him or anyone. It's just circumstance. He was doing his things. There was no blame. It's just, that's what it was. It didn't excite me at all to continue playing guitar. And so I lost out on, like almost 8 years or 7 years of playing guitar, because I really only picked it up again after matric. So I was like 19 when I started playing again. But it's all good. That's how the story
Yeah,
unfolded. The
exactly.
whole thing would have been completely different if it was any other way. So who cares?
Exactly. That's the journey. And so what what was the break that took you from like Muso Next Door to national sensation to what was that? What was the break?
I went to London. There's a long story short. Went to London, was playing covers with a friend of mine. He was on a djembe in London at like Covent Gardens and all the tube stations and stuff. We were busking around. It was so fun. And then we were like, well, why don't we go back to South Africa and make a band of this, and we could play in pubs and just work the scene. And we were like, well, that sounds amazing. So we did. We got a cool little gig starting. And I was playing bass pedals with my feet and harmonica, and I looked like a circus act. It really was. And I had these horrible dreadlocks with big blobs of wax, and my dress sense was only slightly worse than it is now. And it was just a sight to behold. But there was definitely something going on. And then I saw a band called Tri-Funk Era, who happened to be playing at the then Waterfront in Randburg. And in my breaks, I would go and watch them, and then I would notice that they would come watch us in the break. And it was mainly the drummer, Brent Harris, who would come and watch. And I remember sitting right in front, all not intimidatingly. We sat right in front, to listen when I started playing Shallow Waters. And he was like, and then he called me, and like in Brent's true fashion, he called me one day. He's like, you're going to be the lead singer. We got to start a band, and we want to play original music. So, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah. And I was such a big fan. I was like, yeah, of course. Thank you. Are you sure? Yeah. So that's kind of how that started. So Just Jinjer started from there. And then that very same song was on our first record. It happened to be our first #1. This was all in the space of about a year, I would say, that I went from cover band to a song on radio with the original Just Jinjer.
That's incredible. So you know how to make big things happen in 1 year. So we're going to track
looks
of
like
it.
It looks like the 1 year process that seems to be working for me at the moment.
Fantastic. If you scan your memory banks, take us into one of the most exciting Just Jinjer moments that just pops to mind right now.
I would have to think that being called we're on some TV show and the people from the record company came on with the plaques going, hey, you guys have sold platinum. We're the first band ever to sell platinum in this country. We were live on TV, and I just wish I'd have been a little bit more present, because I was such an artsy-farty, aloof kind of, I'd really happy-go-lucky. I didn't know what was going on. I mean, I didn't remember. It's just weird. I mean, I was also perfectly non-present because I was able to create like I did, all that. So all those, no regrets in what I'm saying, but like it was a big moment, and I was just young, and I was just like, of course we have, or whatever. I mean, not rudely or arrogantly, but it was like it wasn't as big a deal as when you look back and go, wow, that was a cool moment. So that's just one that stands out,
Yes, that's pretty flippin' cool. So anyone looking into taking a glimpse of your life would see the dream life. There's the international gigs, the iconic band Just Jinjer. There's sharing stages with these bands, U2, Def Leppard, Nelson Mandela concert, like living in the US, raving fans, hot chicks, castles, yachts. Everybody, that looks like a dream life, but we all know that it's not all what it seems. What you see on the outside is not always what it seems. What's the toughest part of being a rock star?
In South Africa, although most of it will probably be my fault, if you even want to call it that, but it's the result of my, let's call it, negligence and a bit of naivety, or a lot of naivety. The biggest kind of downside of being a South African rock star is that in our heyday we had X amount of a couple of 100,000 people that was our market and was our captive market. We are in the southern tip of Africa, where rock and roll is just, the market has gotten smaller since then, because everyone who was our big, they've all left the country. So we're sitting in a country where we have the tiniest market in the world. No matter how hard we work it, like all the other rock bands have, it's not something that you get incredibly wealthy with while being stuck here, which is why we went to go and try our luck in America. We're always digging for for more fertile ground, so to say. So that's one of the challenges, is that financially you have to get by, and with what you have, and it's been wonderful. I've lived the charmed life. Are you kidding? I have a castle and a yacht. So, but
Yeah.
it's not the Bon Jovi money, and it's not the U2 money where they
Yes.
have several and they can buy $100 million yachts and things like that. This is from the ground up, working very hard. The house is still partly bonded. The boat, I don't know if I'll ever pay it back. You know what I mean? But it's fun. It also keeps me on my toes. It keeps me having to have some kind of just a wake up, like fight attitude to keep it going. So that's cool. So that's I have seen some people who just have so much money and they're really bored with all these things, and they don't even know where the next fix is going to come from, financially or not. And they don't really have much drive to do something. Whereas I have to. I'm literally keeping the boat afloat every day and fighting hard to keep it all going. But it's kept me alive. I've kept a good sense of humor around it. But I reckon that would be one of the hardest parts. Also, like a side thing of it is that you see us at gigs and you see us being adorned by people and fans and people. And then what happens, and what people don't often realize, is that half an hour later, you're alone in your car and you're going home to solitude. And it's such a crash, and I guess that's the reason why there's so many stories about alcoholism and drug abuse, is that, people need to try and keep that high. And I'm just really incredibly lucky that I've never had an addictive personality. So that's never been a problem for me, but I get it and you see it. So that's a little bit of a downside, but I've also learned how to say, wow, that is the coolest office on earth. And then I get to come home and be alone with my dog. So I'm actually very happy with that,
Sure. There's always another side. And so that's some of the downsides of it. What's the coolest side? What did it give you? What did it expose you to that was just extraordinary?
Well, the cool side of it is that, I live an incredibly charmed life. I get away with, I just have doors open in places that I wouldn't. I've played on some of the most amazing golf courses in the world where, a tattooed dreadlock guy should not be playing on some of the golf courses that I've played on, and I've had so many doors opened up so beautifully, met incredibly cool people who I consider friends along the way. So that's one of them, because really, that's not something that is afforded everyone. So just by having that little kind of title and a little piece of fame, people do treat you differently. And as long as you promise not to get hurt by however they are handling you in the moment, once you get over that, it's quite freeing and quite fun. So that has been it's pretty cool. Fame in little doses, and, to be able to, to have just some access to something that you normally wouldn't be able to perhaps afford or whatever it is. So it's granted me a few of those cool little things. But the rest of it, it's definitely not all it's cut out to be. It's like the fame chases. I've always said to people, I'm like, why are you doing music? If you're not doing music because you love it, then you really need to be very careful. If you're chasing fame, first of all, let me tell you, it's not what it's cut out to be, because the higher you are, the harder you fall. And also, that's not where the music should be coming from, because that's not authentic, and people will hear that soon.
Yes, exactly. So we've got added challenges this year. So like you said, it was always tough, especially as a South African music artist. Now you've got added challenges in this crazy of all crazy years. What do you think right now, if you look at your, what it's taken for you, and now you have some fame, some people, you can pick up the phone and talk with people. For people starting out, what would be your advice? So say it is a music artist that really does have the passion, but talent and passion is not enough. What do you think it's going to take for them to cut it in this phase of human history?
Yeah, I don't know. I do get asked that advice quite a lot, but it's so weird because I'm always constantly trying to figure out how I'm going to,
Yeah, exactly. So what have you given yourself?
Yeah, so I'm such a work in progress that it feels a bit weird to be offering advice, because I'm still trying to figure it out. So why would I be telling people how to do it? What I can say is to young people who are tech savvy without allowing it to become too addictive, which is already too late because everyone is. But, we live in a time where we've never had access to more opportunity to self-promote for very little money. So, just get clever, do cool viral videos, use your cuteness if you're a young, cute girl or guy. You have to use it, unfortunately, otherwise it doesn't rise to the top, and you need to work it as classily and as authentic as possible. I think people are craving authenticity at the moment. So that's something that I would suggest for people, because that'll go a long way, especially in years to come. You'll look back and go, yeah, that was me, still me. You don't want to be looking back and go, oh my God, I can't believe I wore that just to get an extra couple of likes.
Yes, exactly.
So I don't know. The advice for me is authenticity. Make sure you're playing music because you love music and not because of the outcome. If you're chasing an outcome with music, which is something that I've learned only recently, and I've never had more fun. I've never had more. I've for the last few months, I've had 2 songs in the top 10, just coming and going all the time. And like the chart stuff has gone nuts, and I just threw it out there, going, I don't even care. If it wasn't people messaging me about it, I wouldn't even know. So I'm not chasing it. That's quite a powerful universal truth, as you well know.
Yes, exactly. So what have you done differently?
I've stopped focusing on the outcome.
Okay, so that's the thing. Okay, and practically, how did you do that? So like, because the one thing I saw that I loved, and maybe this is part of it, this initiative that you had, Let Your Word Be Heard, and writing in collaboration with your fans, and this amazing, the lyrics in the song that came from that, Free to Begin, is that part of what you're talking about?
That was just a project which I've really learned that by surrendering and letting go of things that you think were supposed to be sacred. So, that project, Let Your Word Be Heard, was me writing a song in real time with people submitting their lyrics. And normally, like, it's a quite an intimate thing to write a song, and you're like, oh, what about that wrong chord, and what about this thing? And it's a thing that you enjoy doing in the privacy of your own studio, and then you show people what the end result is. And then so I decided to try and get rid of as much ego as possible and go, come, I want to invite you into my process, and this is how it happens. And like, you'll see, there's the second video I do, I was trying to play piano chords, and they weren't even on the same scale of the natural human universe. And but I didn't care. It was cool that people heard I got it at the end, and it ended up being one of the biggest parts of the song, and it's lovely. And it's that taught me a lot. It also realized, it helped me just share what I'm able to do. And I've found that by that sharing attitude, that collaborating kind of thing, which I haven't really done much of, I've had beautiful results from it. Especially, it's just that give back kind of thing that you do, that you don't do everything for self-promotion and everything for yourself and your own career. You do stuff to raise money for charity, you give back to people, you share your craft, all these things, and the universe just rewards you.
Yeah, well, I mean, some of the testimonials with this Let Your Word Be Heard, people feel part of it, so they feel like it's their song, and when they feel part of it, they promote it, and so it's just a beautiful new way of doing it, and who knows?
Yeah, absolutely, exactly. So it's exactly that, and they do feel part of it, because they should, and they've all been registered. Oh, it was so tedious. I don't think I'm ever going to do it quite like that again. But I registered each one of their little one-liners got notified at Samro. They are a bona fide composer on that song for the rest of their lives.
Wow.
The song is like Matthews, X, Y, Z, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. It's like, it's not Lennon and McCartney. It's Matthews and 20. So it's the worst form to fill in every time you want to sign it off at radio.
I'm sure.
It's their song, so they got the lyric portion of that divided equally between all of us, and they loved it. None of us are going to make crazy money with it that we know of. I'm going to change that language again, but so and whatever, for whatever that's worth anyway. But it's theirs, and it's our song that we wrote, so people are excited to kind of share that.
And I think it's those kind of initiatives and innovations as you go forward, and bringing in your Tim into the picture here. As, who knows? I think this is what every single one of us as entrepreneurs are in for, is completely collaborative, opening up ourselves, losing the ego, making it fun, bigger than us on our own, and hey, it might bring complete new flavor to art and creativity.
That's kind of the idea, that we have to think outside the box now as well,
Yes.
So one thing I learned was, I don't know if you're going to touch on this later, but like, I did those shows on the rooftop.
Yes, I saw that.
It was quite a popular little series that I did, but it was during lockdown, and it was interesting because I then realized, I was like, hang on, my brand, this is going to sound weird that I've only realized this now. I know you and I spoke about this last time, but my brand is me. My brand is,
Yes.
which obviously I knew, but I didn't realize how powerful it was when I realized that my stage is wherever I am. It's not
Mm.
going to a stage. It's a weird mindset to kind of, separate. And I was
Mm.
like, hang on, but I can do this anywhere in the world. Like if my roof can become my biggest stage, then surely my boat will be even cooler because I'm going to be pulling up to ports on the deck, jamming a song, and that's going to be way bigger,
I think that's, I think that's going to be a total sensation. It
Exactly.
really is. I can just imagine. And if you're sort of documenting it or filming it, even if it's not your typical big camera action kind of thing, but authentic again, in authentic style. Just
Yeah.
like your mom. I thought it was really cute. Your mom's on the rooftop. That kind of thing.
That's
That's
so funny.
that's the future. I think that's the future of music. Who has proper cameras nowadays and video cameras? We're all just with our phones.
No,
Um,
exactly. So
yeah.
yeah, we want to try and keep it halfway between relatively professional, but also, I'm not going to be able to set up multiple camera angles when I'm sailing, and
Yeah.
when we get inspired, it's going to be iPhone somewhere and maybe one other one on a tripod, and that's the show.
It will be real and raw and just beautiful. So I think there's some amazing stuff coming.
Yeah, I agree.
They talk about the dark night of the soul. Have you
Hmm.
ever had a phase of your life that you would describe as that? Or an
Um,
incident or a phase or, whatever.
yeah. So I mean, and we also kind of spoke about this last time. I think definitely that anthem thing was a massive thing for me. It really knocked me sideways. I don't think people know how hard I took it and how personally I took it. So that would definitely be the long dark night that it took me years to get through, and in many ways is still one of my challenges. So it's been a very interesting psychological observation at best for me and for and it would be for anyone else and for those who know me and close to me. So that's been an interesting challenge, but I've made such peace with it because of, if I look at what other people's challenges are and what they've had to overcome and in their life, and then I go, well, mine is an ego embarrassment thing, and then you just process it like that, and you go, okay, well, and so what does that make you as a man, and what kind of trial and tribulation is that, in fact, especially in comparison to anyone else, which I know you shouldn't compare to everyone else, but you can look and just get a bit of clarity on your own thing and just go, yo, everyone is fighting off a big demon and a big regret and a big this and an X, and yours is literally just in line, and everyone needs that. We all need our egos checked. That was
Yes.
my big one. And I take it as such, and the fat had to be cut in so many ways from like also confirming who my real friends were through all of that, and who I was through all of that, and who I was about to be, and if I had the strength to carry on and the strength to rebuild, and it's actually been a wonderful motivator for me to go, well, come on, you can only be remembered for your last big success or failure. So how many more big successes are you going to do? And I've been slowly ticking off a few more positive things in my life than that obsession. But that was definitely a dark time for me.
And I look back at it, and I look at who you are today. So if you look at that moment and you look at who you are today and everything that's transpired before, all I see is that you turn that completely. Yes, it was a dark moment and maybe moments, but if you look at how it leapfrogged you, I mean, everything that you did, the way you thought about things, I mean, your courage to go and apologize afterwards. Everything that you've done, it's just you've gone from one success to another, and it's kept. The ego is probably our greatest nemesis as mankind, and I think that incident put that ego in check. And look who you are today. I mean, you're the most humble, magnificent person. And when you were here, I was like, the one thing that Gaz and I said to each other is, this is a freaking rock star. I mean, he's been on stage with like unbelievable people around the world. He is himself, and to his own right, a rock star. And you're like, So what, dude? I mean, come on, let's
Yeah,
have a beer together. Let's just, park
yeah,
together, and it's beautiful. So when I see that incident, I think, sure, a blip on the radar in
yeah.
comparison to the magnificent canvas that you've created, and around your life and what's still going to come. So,
Correct. Yeah, I think that's how I process it too. And yeah, it's you can never have your ego checked enough, in my experience. Because there's such a possibility that can run away. And when pride becomes your, when you know what I'm saying, you can be
yeah.
led by that, and it's just not a lovely space to be living in, because it's not cool. Any thought of not realizing, or being cut down to our complete, humanity at any stage is a worry. When you get led down that path. So yeah, great lesson, and happy to be motivated to be doing what I'm doing at the moment.
Yes, and I mean you're totally in touch with your humanity, and even through your songs. So tell us a little bit about that, because you've got this deep, soulful, the way you sing, the way you write. What's driving that? What do you think is driving that?
Sure. I don't know where the drive for that comes. In fact, I actually need to get on that a bit more. There hasn't been enough drive because I've been driving this darn boat. Uh,
Yeah.
so I need to get back onto my music drive. I've got a couple of dear friends and who are going, bro, well done on the boat, but where is your music? What's happening with the music? Don't forget what got you here in the first place. And I have assured them, I was like, guys, I need to get it back from Saldana to the VNA to prove my own proof of concept around the whole thing. And then I'm going to take a break. Um, um, so I don't know about drive as such. I don't know where I get it. I don't know where that's derived from. I wouldn't even be able to tell you direct influences apart from the greats like Louis Armstrong, Nat King Cole, and things like that. I guess what I do is when the moment arrives, which can be both a good and a bad thing, but that's when I do it. You know what I mean? I don't sit down in the office and go, today you will write 3 songs, and you sit from 9 to 5 going, oh my
Yeah.
God, I can't think of anything. Which is another reason why I'll never get writer's block, is because I never try and write unless I'm feeling something. So,
Yes.
really, that is the
Yeah.
truth. As I said, it can work against me a little bit, because then it can end up being 2 years like it has been, and I've only released 1 or 2 songs, which is not great. But I have also given birth to a very wonderful piece of South African history during a pandemic. So I'm not going to be too hard on myself at this stage.
Yes.
But yeah, finding the drive is important. I'm going to get back on it. The boat is an inspiration for me to want to carry on writing and creating. And it's going to happen. I'm actually I'm going to be doing I'm going to do an acoustic version of this Impossible Machines album that just keeps on churning out singles. I've just had my 4th single from the record. After it's a 2-year-old album, and it's just had a 4th single go to #1 in South Africa.
Fantastic.
So yeah, it's wonderful. It's just been such a wonderful little I don't know, pat on the back for me, if you want to call it. A little confirmation of all my years of work and doubt and slog and confidence, and getting that little nudge of an award last year was pretty cool, man. It really it was both. It was encouraging, and it was also really, it was weird. It also like knocked me off my feet. I was like, really, I've worked this hard for a SAMA award my whole life, and this is it. I think we got like a tiny check amount. It's like, it's no money. And you go and you sit and hold this thing. You go, like, really? Is that it? Is this what I've done? So it was also deflating. And then I sit back. I was like, no, there's got to be more to life than this. Really, there's got to be more. So that's when I started really just deviating and just going, okay, well, what about this wholesaling thing? So it was both good and bad for me. And I'm on track to get a beautiful balance between all the adventure and all the music, and I'm not going to stop. So I'm going to re-record Impossible Machines, but I'm going to do it acoustically. So the whole album is electric. There's not any acoustic guitar on the whole record, and I'm going to re-record from top to bottom on acoustic guitar, and I'm going to live stream the whole process. So I'm just going to I'm literally just going to let people be voyeurs. The live stream will be like 6 hours at a time. And I'm just going to press record, and they can hear me. And I hope I don't burp or fart or anything like that too much while I'm busy plugging in.
That's authentic.
That's all part of it. Hopefully, it's in key,
Wow, look forward to seeing that or hearing.
Yeah, so that's what I think that's where we're at. Live streaming is a big thing, but normally people tune into a live stream if it's something they can potentially learn from. Like I enjoy watching live gamers because Call of Duty Warzone is one of my weaknesses. I love it. If I could make money from that, I would be on the couch right now doing that, or in front of my laptop somewhere doing my PC playing that. But because I'm so crap at it, I've got a couple of gamers that I really enjoy watching, and they're so good, and I find myself it's terrible. But I find myself on the iPad logging onto the stream going, oh, that's what I want to do. So the reason it's so appealing is because they're actually showing you how good they are at something. And they live stream, and these guys are on it. They from 12 till 5, Monday to Friday, 5 hours, and they can spend the first hour talking about like the lunch they had with their grandma on Sunday. You know what I mean? So, but they create it's this content creation which is quite captivating.
Yes,
it's something that I need to do, and I need to realize that my studio process is unique and it's different, and people can learn a lot about it. You saw me plugging cables in the beginning, and I can try and while I'm not an absolute expert at all things audio, technology wise, what I do is works, and I'm a songwriter, and I can explain where it comes from, and you can hear me how I go into something with absolute with no abandon, and absolute abandon, and I make mistakes, and that's part of the songwriting process. So that's why I'm going to try and see if the streaming thing, if that works. And if it gets boring, if the numbers really do go down quite a lot, I might finish it in the privacy of not doing that. But I think in this day and age, why not just put it on? We've got internet, people are interested, and if I have 3 people looking at the I'm creating content, and I'm allowing people into my life. And weirdly, what I've gotten out of that is by sharing and being open and not concealing, or like playing, like holding your cards close to your chest so that other people can't steal your secrets. I don't have any secrets. My secret is me. I could show you exactly what I'm doing, but you'll never sing and write the way I do. Do you know what I mean? So why not show people who are learning or starting, and just go, listen, this is a mistake that I made. Let's escalate it quickly. And that's something that South Africans, or I won't generalize, sorry, South Africa, but a lot of kind of developing places make the biggest mistake is that they try and hide all their IP in that regard, which I understand in business sense. Some IP, of course, you have to keep, but especially the growing industry like music. Like, why wouldn't I show you? Like, I've spent 10 hours on this program here, pressing that button, and I want to share with you guys that it's the button next to it, and that can work. Because then what you do is you progress the education and the advancement of creation, and you just progress as a nation and as a bunch of creators, and you just help people grow. And then another guy will come back and go, oh, by the way, do you know, if you hadn't pressed that button and did this one first and raised that fader first, you could have got this. And you go, damn it, that's amazing. You've just saved me 2 days of clicking on the computer, So that's kind of what I want to do and just share. I think it could be cool for me, having to balance a Rockstar pirate lifestyle. It's very hard to just get some routine. That's a little bit tough for me. So that's gonna be one of my challenges that I'm gonna try and figure out, because I need to figure out when the right time to do that is. Is it a late night thing? Maybe you can actually tell me when to get off here, like when are the good times to put to do these streams. I have a feeling maybe like late-ish in the evening when people have finished watching, or after dinner, and if I come and do a night session from say 9 to 12, I think that could be a good time. So I've got to figure all these things out, but then I need to do it consistently. So that's going to be my little challenge. I'm sharing that with you first.
I think it sounds fantastic. The vision of this show is to make collaboration the new competition, and I think it's what our world needs. And if you think about it, the only true competition in the world and the only true uniqueness is us, our individual selves. And that's not competition. Each of us have our individual idiosyncrasies. So even if you shared everything you did, no one sing like an Ard.
No, that's true. Exactly. I've had to realize that.
Yes, exactly. I mean, your uniqueness and I think you opening up yourself like this is actually going to make you even more successful. So it's going to bring an element to what you do that will take you off the charts, actually. And so it's an abundance mindset, which I love.
Yes, no, exactly. And that's what you guys specialize in. So I've kind of been trying to adopt just from our little short conversations that I was fortunate to have with you guys last year. So I'm kind of in that headspace. I think you can see that's how I've been through my action. And for me, it's just like, let the world in, let them see, show your I've already done my worst. I can't, people have seen my worst. It's not gonna get any worse, and it might get as bad again. Who cares? It's just life.
It's okay.
If you think about the fact that we these organic beings hurtling through space, and everything's about to be in a ball of flames anytime. Given that, who actually cares? Come log in, learn something. Don't listen. If you don't like it, block it, unfollow, do whatever you want. But I am me. I'm unapologetically me. So that's what it is, and that has been my strongest self.
And it's beautiful. I mean, the space that you're in right now, and I mean, you're in Cape Town. I'm in Mauritius, and I can feel it. Even on your face, everything, your body language. You are so in your zone. You're honoring you. You're in that beautiful creative space. You're bringing your different worlds together. And you're doing it in an unapologetic way. And that actually makes you very powerful, because that's when you're in your best space. That's what we're meant to do on this planet, is just to be unapologetically raw us. And
yes, exactly. It takes you a while to sift through the lies, though.
Yes, exactly.
We'll believe that we need to be, taking the perfect selfie and doing that. I've actually another challenge that I thought of the other day. I was like, I might do just for fun. I don't know if I'm going to follow through on it, but I just had a feeling like I've been reading a book. I wish I could tell you what it was called, but it's basically about how technology is incredibly disruptive at the moment. It talks about addiction to technology. I can try and find the book. And I just thought, what, it'll be so cool if you do a challenge to your friends online and you go, okay, guys, you have to swear, and only you will know. So it's only up to you, but you have to swear that you're going to take a selfie now. And it's the first selfie that you take. You're not allowed to take 100. You have to hold the camera out and go like this, click, and you post that selfie. Like just a challenge towards authenticity.
Yes.
Which is where I'm going, because they're talking about how past influencers, or even just teenagers, or just anyone, will take hundreds and hundreds of selfies before they post the one. So fortunately, I've never done that anyway, because there's nothing much more you can do with this. Even FaceTune, there's nothing more you can do. So I've fortunately been relatively authentic, kind of from the word go. But we've done 5 or 6 or 7 photos. That's the one. And so I think a fun game will be to move the world to authenticity. Go, all right, every Thursday you post a picture, and it's the first photo that you take of yourself, and you have to swear that it was. If it comes out like this and all beautiful, and I know that wasn't your first photo. You know what I mean? It's quite funny,
But you'll have to make the times and the days random, so people aren't prepared for it.
Correct. Aren't ready for it. Yeah, exactly. Okay, now. Go now. I don't know. I don't even know if I'll put that much energy into that, but it's just a thought that I had.
I think the energy that you want to put in is this amazing, authentic music side that you're talking about. Mm-hmm. I love it. I love where you're going with it. Sounds awesome.
Yeah, correct. Yeah.
What's the song that has the deepest meaning for you that you've written?
Well, for the longest time, it was What He Means, the Peace, Love, More Tolerance song. That song just stays the course. It really does. Yeah. You can break it down into any time of our history and to today. And it really holds its course, line for line. There's nothing, that only applied 10 years ago. So I'm incredibly blessed that that's something that I have as, part of my arsenal. That's something that I can be proud of and sit back that if I stopped tomorrow, that I go, well, I did that. That's pretty okay. I'm quite comfortable with that. That said, there's a big onus and mission going on about the Impossible Machine, and so the song Impossible Machines is pretty cool, and also it's a little bit of a statement about our technology dependency and our codependency, and it basically just talks about you are all you need from now on, which just basically allows people to feel empowered in themselves and not have to rely on other people to make them feel strong, which I've witnessed so many times, and I've been a part of it, so often you rely on that person to big you up. And then when you're left alone, you're completely helpless. And I think we live in a day and age now where it's quite healthy to really know who you are by yourself, and to then realize that there is no one stronger than you. Yes, someone can come and bring out the better or even more or accentuate you. But at the core of it, when you drop and are left alone, you are all you need, and you're as strong as anyone will be. So that's kind of what Impossible Machines sings about. which is why I named the boat after that song. And I'm, to be honest, I'm also just having a lot of fun with this.
Yes.
I'm almost waiting. I'm almost waiting for someone to come bust me like Leon Schuster. Go, hey, you got to stop having so much fun, hey. So I'm kind of waiting. I'm literally waiting. Like every day, I'm like, am I allowed to be having this much fun? Can I be this cheeky? And but that's the approach that I'm taking with it. You know what I mean? Like, so just such fun. Why wouldn't I name my boat after my last album? And who actually cares?
And you've given yourself permission to do that, and why the hell not?
Yeah.
You've been through the high the low stuff, so why not create the high stuff for you that's deeply meaningful, actually?
Yeah.
But now, given what the meaning is of this song, how did you come to the name The Impossible Machine? What inspired that name then?
I know that's something I need to work on. Thank you, because I'm probably going to get asked that a few more times as this boat gets. I'm going to have to make something up. But these impossible machines basically talks about our devices, which are impossible machines. To think that you can run your whole business from a mobile device this big, which I know in 10 years' time, when people listen back to that, are going to go, "What? That big?" But it's crazy that's an impossible machine that is doing everything that it can. So it's a good thing and it's a bad thing. And so I just thought, well, listen, getting an old wooden boat restored and sailing again and function, it's an impossible thing altogether. So she's the impossible machine. And it's quite funny. A friend of mine said, oh, so a kind of subtitle or a comment about her or description about Tim the impossible machine is that it's obviously an androgynous drifter, because if you can't have a female vessel called Tim, it's all mixed up. It's a sailing she, and her name is Tim, and just deal with it. And Tim stands for the impossible machine, the androgynous drifter. And I couldn't be more proud that I've actually ticked off so many boxes accidentally by calling her that.
Yes, well, I think it's again that unapologetic. It's all things. It can be. So what? It's wonderful. It represents so many different sides of you, because you've got so many different sides. So I love it. Love it. So
exactly, cool.
You've seen high highs of life and you've seen low lows.
Mm-hmm.
If you put all that into perspective, what truly matters? Right now, where you sit there in your dungeon, what actually matters in life?
I've kind of always thought this, but I think this year has shown us more than ever before that really all that does matter, and I know this is going to sound super hippie or super, but the present is just right now. It's just, that is literally all that matters. Are you having fun now? Are you taking stock daily of going, is the trajectory keeping you in a happy space? And all that matters are the friends in your life, the family in your life, the people who are authentic and good to you. And then it's just about being kind. Kindness is a recurring theme in my life and my songs. I always speak about kindness, and it's just a choice. We just, do you want to be, do you want to be, do you want to be an idiot, or do you want to be lekker? And that's
yeah.
And I've chosen to be lekker in the face of potential complete, the fact that this might all be a joke. This whole, as with the whole, all of life as we know, could just be a simulation. Who knows? I'm open to all those things. I don't believe in any of it. I don't not believe in any of it.
Yeah,
so that's
could be
semi-agnostic, whatever, but I don't even believe in that title. So that's how far off the scale I am in that regard. But in the face of potential pointlessness of it all, which is something makes people very uncomfortable, because they think, a butterfly flaps his wings and across the Pacific and it comes across as a hurricane to you. I'm like, yeah, whatever, butterfly effect, that's cool, but potentially pointless, because when that asteroid does hit the Earth again in the next 1,000 years, all records of our civilization will be lost, and no one will care or remember until many millions of years later. So it's potentially pointless. And don't tell me, we don't have absolute proof that our souls go on. So I don't mean to sound like that, but I'm just saying, from a very pragmatic point of view, in the face of pointlessness, what do you have? You have two decisions. One is just kill yourself immediately, or two is, and it comes with two subcategories. Two is carry on living, but how are you going to live? Are you going to be a horrible person, or are you going to choose to be kind? And I kind of had that realization when I was 20 already. I actually remember I was on a beach in Thailand, and I came to that conclusion, and I haven't been swayed by it or rocked from it, and I'm open to it at any stage. My mom's a very devout Christian, and is, you know, Jesus is everything to her, and I've had probably a little bit of a battle because she's imposed it a little bit more than perhaps she should have, and she's been really cool of late. But I'm open at any stage to have an aha moment for someone to go, everything matters in life. You're gonna be, and I'm open to it. I'm not a stalwart in my thinking, but I'm now 45, so it's 25 years later, and I've heard pretty much every argument for everything, every way of thinking, and I haven't really heard of anything that can rock me from that thought pattern. But if you think of it at the core of what and it's only me, just my opinion. It's, you know, it's like
Yes,
everyone.
Yes.
It's just my idea is that I've decided to be kind in the face of potential absolute pointlessness, and this is where I've gotten to in my life, and I haven't had the worst outcome because of it. So it's worked for me, you know.
Yeah, and I think it's absolutely. It makes you a true man, as far as I'm concerned. You know, that's to me, it's removing that ego again and bringing it back down to humanity, and the core of who we are is compassion and kindness and soul.
Start from there, you know.
Yeah, we start from there, and that brings
not a horrible place to start from.
Yeah, no, exactly. I love it. And how are you going to live, and how are we going to be this moment? Because it's all we really have. So
not even that's not even a given anymore, you know.
Totally. So it's who we are in this moment, how we're going to live, and let's be kind. It's
and it sounds so juvenile, but it's actually it's the deepest and heaviest thing that you can think of, actually.
Yeah, exactly.
People are so scared, especially like men and alpha males, and like you need to have bravado and you must fight your way through everything. And I'm like, yeah, for sure, we've needed to survive like that for a long time. But our new secret weapon is kindness, believe it or not, which is a big line in Impossible Machine. And it sounds so bad for me to quote my own lyrics. I do feel embarrassed, but like, you know, a big line in there is kill them with kindness. It's your biggest weapon, because nothing pisses off an enemy more than you just sitting back and going, I love you, brother. I love you, sister. Whatever hate you are hoping on me, first of all, you shouldn't be indulging them in the first place, but if you happen to be, you just go, you know, I'm sorry. I know you're hurting it to some degree, and I'm there for you, and I feel sorry. I don't know why you're so angry with me or with the world, but I love you. And that's a secret weapon, you know, instead of having to be abrasive about it and have to confront it and intellectually fight them out of it, or you know what I'm saying? It's like, just sit back and just have compassion and kindness, and realize that everyone's going through crazy battles themselves. Everyone, massive demons, most of them bigger than yours, and you think that you're having the worst time ever. I assure you, there's someone pretty close to you going, oh my God, that is a crazy story to have to deal with, you know.
This is what makes you a true rock star, Ard. The side of you that is so yummy, like our friend Bronwyn Corbett would say, this is what makes you a delicious human.
Bronny.
Bronny, she's so gorgeous, a crusty of business, and you know, that is exactly it. Because I believe that we're in this golden reset in humanity's phase. And we've got to do things differently to the way we used to do it before. So we used to fight and, you know, bring in all this stuff. And how has it worked out for us? So why don't we try something different? Why don't we bring in kindness and more of our humanity? So I love, and now I really see this sailing on, you know, into the sunsets, singing and the kindness. And
I'm gonna be putting cannons up on the front of my bow, and the joke has always been that instead of cannonballs, I'm just gonna make them big, like bubble machines. You know what I mean? Like, why? I mean, cannons are so old school and they weigh a lot, you know. I mean, cannonballs.
Bubbles are way more fun.
That's so much more fun. You could dive into them and hopefully float away in one of them. Who knows? You know, like, Listen, I'm also not saying that men mustn't, keep, or in general, this is not gender specific. In South Africa, we in a fight or flight stage at all stages. So we obviously have to keep our wits about us, and we mustn't be taken advantage of, and we must, so don't get me wrong. I think people understand this is just a philosophical approach to where I am. Obviously, if we need to react the way we have our whole lives in any form of aggression, it's sad if you need to, or sometimes you need to as a male. There's certain things that need to be addressed in perhaps an old school way of thinking. You know what I'm saying? But like in general, you can pretty much get away with almost you can diffuse any situation with compassion and kindness, weirdly, instead of having to react in our old ways of thinking that we needed to, which again, we're justified then because we were surviving a lot, but we have a few more tools at our disposal now.
Yes, exactly. And the interesting thing is, you're not saying be Mr. Nice or Miss Nice. You're not saying be soft and weak.
Walked over ever.
Kindness is it's a strength. It's coming from a place of strength. And when you are able to be kind and compassionate, you're building strength. So it's actually it's a
practice,
it bolsters us.
Yes, exactly. It totally does, and it's just an ongoing practice, the same as any practice, yoga practice, this practice.
Yes.
At all stages, we are going to falter. There are going to be situations, and I've been through. I'll just go, oh my God, you were so rude. And you took someone, you didn't give them enough time of day before, you weren't. So it's not like it's not an exact science. You can practice being kind, but you're going to falter all the time. And that's what people also must realize. The same as, when we think about our environmental efforts, where we need to remember to take up our reusable shopping bags to the supermarket. We forget all the time. That doesn't mean that we don't care. It just means that we're human. And we just need to try and remind ourselves to next time, don't buy that plastic bottle that's going to be thrown away after you one drink. But one day you're going to, and then you don't persecute yourself for it. So it's the same with kindness and compassion. You try as best you can. Then it's quite nice to take stock afterwards and go, well, damn, that could have been handled much nicer. You could have been a lot kinder. And instead of being abrasive to anyone, you can't believe how far you can get by just being nice. Just start off with a compliment. Just go, wow, I like your outfit today. Just randomly, even if you don't even know what the outfit means in the scale of fashion, just do it. It completely changes it. If it comes from an authentic place, which it should, just a little, instead of having to come out and show that you are dominating the room or the situation. It's like, that's an old business tactic, which I understand. In big corporate environments, it's important. You've got to have certain postures and body languages, which I get, but I don't think anything gets you further than kindness. in my opinion at the moment.
Yeah. Well, business is changing. You look at a company like Grit, with Greg Pearson and Bronwyn Corbett. There is no ego in their business. They are completely compassionate. They are kind. They're about collaboration. They're about co-creation. So they've built $1 billion business on a completely different model, and it's working. And that's exactly what we need more of going forward, because the world the old models are not working. We need something new. So time for change. Let's come back to a song. So if you say the whole world was your audience right now, you're on a stage, the whole world is your audience, you could only sing one song, a show of one song. Which song would you choose to sing to the world, and why?
Okay, well then I'm going to say something a little bit off the record, because the obvious answer would be What He Means. But there is a song on Impossible Machines called Wait, Wait, How Long? And it really just talks about how long are we going to carry on living how we are without realizing that we don't have much time left. And that's what that song talks about. And it talks about our love can change the world at the end. So that is a resonating song for now. And if I had 2.5 minutes or 3 minutes to play something apart from What He Means, so you get it. I'm fishing in a song.
Yes.
So What He Means, obviously, always, but a song called Wait, Wait, How Long? I think, and I look back and I was like, whoa, I wrote that before the pandemic, and I was like, but it's the perfect pandemic song. at the moment, and now it's a song that'll carry on even after everything.
Tell us a little bit, give us more of the lyrics. Wait, how long?
So I've been dreaming of a perfect world where we live, considerate of who we are, afraid of what we'll become. Will we wait until it's too late to start a revolution? We are not alone, but we better get ready or we will soon be. And then the chorus starts, wait, how long? How long are we going to wait for this change? That's kind of the gist of the song, is just basically challenging us, like, how long are we going to go being unconscious of our actions, and how long do we think we've got? Because the answer is not long. We have 10 years before the environmental impact is irreversible, and it's very scary. That is a fact. Like 10 years, if we carry on at this course, if we don't change something radically, it will never get back. Unless we come up with the craziest technological solution, like plastic eating, which I've heard about, but I mean, how do you put that into practice? It's irreversible. So we're not seeing it. We're not seeing it at the moment, and we need to. So that'll be another very big thing with Impossible Machine. I will be going out there. I will be preaching. It feels a little bit like throwing sand into a southeaster, but I will be throwing handfuls of it at all time. And I'll definitely try my best, but sure, we're on a ticking time bomb, unfortunately. Yes. And I really hope that by some miracle, humanity's, our collective consciousness is gonna shift. I feel that it is in many ways. It's wonderful, but I just wonder if we've got the timing right. So let's see.
Beautiful. I'm going to listen to that particular song right after this.
Yes, yeah, cool. Please do. And then, and I actually played it for the first time at a show on Saturday on acoustic guitar. I'm like, man, this works. What have you been doing? You've been sitting on this little nugget for a little while.
Yes. Bring it out.
Yeah. So this will be my new opening song now going forward.
Thank you, Ard. That's just... It kind of sums up everything that you've been speaking about. There's been a theme right through the last hour, and it comes back to just be present, be here, don't wait. Honor each other, be kind, have compassion. Let's change what we're doing. Let's revolutionize everything. And what are we waiting for? What are we waiting for? It's here. It's now. It's here, and we have the opportunity to totally change who we are. And so thank you for bringing you and honoring us with your time and your yumminess and the delicious human being that you are. And we're watching this odd space. I was thinking, you call it the Impossible Machine, but maybe we need to call it Ard's Ark.
Noah's Odd is what I've played around. What I've played around with it.
Noah's
Odd. I want to see what that book is. Noah's Odd, yeah.
I love it.
I just want to see what the name of that book is that I'm reading. It's called Irresistible. Irresistible by Adam. Oh goodness, stop it. Author. No, yes. And it's just talking about. It's Irresistible by Adam something. I must get back to it. How can I not? By Adam Alter. And that is it's just basically talking about our current tech addiction, and it's really good. I must say, I'm enjoying the read. So hopefully the listeners will be able to sort that out, and then also be able to. So one of the big things that I'm going to be doing as far as the charters on the Impossible Machine is I'm getting a safe built at the bottom of my gangway, and it's going to be a tech-free charter. So you come, you put your phone into the safe, and you get onto a boat, and you come and you go under sail the way the pirates did it. It's an old world experience. And for 3 hours or half a day or the full day, depending on what kind of charter we're going to do, you are not able to take a single selfie, not a single photograph when the dolphins come by the bow. You can't do anything. You are sitting and you're being conscious and present, and the skipper will have an old Nokia, and if you have a telephone number that someone needs to reach you on or you need to reach them on, that is how you will be contacted. And so I think that's going to be quite an important or an exciting one. Can you imagine locking your phone away for 3 hours? How freeing that would be. I mean, it would not be the most liberating. And to just go onto a pirate boat and hear the wind flap in the sail, and when you kill that motor once you're under sail, and you hear the creak of that mast. I mean, I'm sorry. Are you telling me there's anything cooler?
No, there isn't. It's gorgeous. Gorgeous, gorgeous.
Yeah,
I love you. I love what you're doing. I love what you're about. I love what you've taught us. And let's sail into the sunset together, being present. Thank you. Thank you so much.
100%.
And
Thank you for your time, Simon. Lots of love to you guys, man.
absolute lots of love to you as well. And we're watching this space. And to everybody watching or who'll be listening, the man has brought us such incredible wisdom. The Rockstar pirate, king of the castle, has reminded us of being totally present, because that's what actually matters. And this show is about bringing humanity back to business. And Ard has brought that beautifully to us. And let's be kind. Let's be kind, and let's have compassion. And when we connect, he's collaborating, he's bringing people into his world, sharing, dropping that competitiveness, which is not necessary, because we are unique individuals. And so let's connect in love, let's collaborate, and let's co-create solutions that will change our entire world into a better place. And by doing that, we will write a new human story that we can be proud of.
I hope so. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Ard. Thanks so much.